Hey songsters, today we're going to talk about identity in music. If you're new here, I write songs, I blog about them, and I also share songster hacks, which are kind of like tutorials and how-tos. If that interests you, consider subscribing, liking this video, and turning on the bell notification so you know exactly when I'm posting. Identities are complicated, layered things. As a child, I really liked music, but I didn't really believe that I could be a musician. For some reason that felt like way too good to be true. But music was really a part of my imaginary space. It was a part of my playtime. I would just make up songs. I remember climbing the tree in front of my parents' house and just singing to myself. I was pretty convinced that no one could hear me as long as I was singing in the tree. I have no idea why. The entire neighborhood could hear me. But these songs I was writing, and at the time I didn't realize it was writing, but these songs I was writing were just about my imagination. They were just songs about teddy bears or songs about dolls and what happened to them and where did they go. And music just took on this life for me. And then when I became a teenager, I remember falling in love with music, as I'm sure many of you can relate to. Music became much more a part of who I was. I related to the songs that I heard on the radio. And even if I couldn't relate because I didn't really know what they were about, I still love them. I still remember songs like Ironic and Sunny Came Home and that one Lisa Loeb hit. But I still didn't think that I could be a songwriter or a musician. I remember being devastated when I found out that my favorite singers didn't actually write their own songs. I was so upset and disappointed because I thought that everything that they sang, they obviously wrote. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Did you think it was realistic to be a songwriter? Did you want to do something else? For me, being a songwriter was like too good to be true. I thought, man, I want to be something a little more concrete, like a writer. Okay, so I really didn't understand like that those were very much the same thing in many ways as far as job security goes. And apparently I still did not get the job security memo, but what can you do? As a later teen, when I started driving, my sister and I discovered Christian music on the radio. Now, we were raised in a Christian home, so Christian music that was on the radio was pretty exciting. It was something other than Petra. When we discovered Reliant K and Switchfoot, we were like so excited. This was like cool music that was also about God. It like completely blew my mind, and it made me want to be a songwriter. So my sister and I started writing songs together when I was about 14 or 15 years old. And this Christian music on the radio that we discovered totally shaped the way that I was writing without me even knowing it. And it became a part of my musical identity as well as my faith identity. I still remember listening to songs by Nicole Nordman and Sara Groves over and over and over again and memorizing those lyrics and just like soaking them in until they became a part of me. I haven't done that with new music in so long. It was so important to me as a teen to just like spend time like bathing in my favorite songs. As an adult, I just have music playing in the background, and I'm a musician. I love music, but sometimes I just have a hard time making the time just to listen to music. My college experience did what it was supposed to do, I guess. Both in life and in my music identity. My boundaries were challenged, broken, reestablished with a little bit more flexibility and compassion for myself and for other people. I started listening and singing songs by Ella Fitzgerald, Brandi Carlile, Bob Dylan, songs that I was never exposed to as a kid. Not because my parents thought they were evil songs, but just it wasn't their music. My songwriting grew in spite of these scars of embarrassment. from sharing my Christian music with my friends. You know, a lot of my friends in college listened to the same music that I did, but the way these experiences go, you meet new people. And I went to an internship on Martha's Vineyard that was all about music. And I met a lot of people who loved music just as much as I did, but, you know, had just as many opinions about what was the right music and what was the wrong music. What was cool music and what was really not cool music. What was good, enriching, and challenging, and what was lazy and easy music to write. And I guess the message I walked away with was that Christian music was not cool. It was not the best music because of whatever reason. And some of that I agreed with, and I was kind of like shaped in a way that, you know, I'm sort of ruined for a lot of Christian music these days. Now that I know, like, here's what makes a song really good and really stand out, and here's what makes a song, you know, just like every other mediocre song, right? I went through a major identity crisis after college. Not just with music, just an identity crisis. And I actually encourage that you try it. You probably will without knowing at some point in your life. You'll just wake up and go, holy crap, who am I and what am I doing? Welcome to, you know, growing up. For all that I went through, and, you know, I had a pretty blessed journey, in spite of, you know, challenges and some, you know, negative relationships and things in there. As a whole, I've been very, very blessed. God led me back to my roots, even after I tried to cut them off. God led me back to my roots, my family roots, and my music roots, as well as my faith roots. He sort of brought with me all of the wisdom from these challenges that I face, the wisdom from the scars along the way. And it's actually made my identity stronger to face those challenges and to question, is that who I really am? Or to question, is that music really good? Is that the music that I really love and I want to be spending time with? Is that person the person I really love and the person I want to be spending time with? All of these questions come about sort of at the same time, or at least they did for me. And it's so interesting that your influences, as well as like who you are, can be so tightly bound. Now I find myself rediscovering some of the bands that I was addicted to as a kid. Bands like Relient K and John Foreman from Switchfoot. Rediscovering their music and like seeing that they grew up with me, even though I sort of cut off my time listening to them prematurely, which is a shame. I never really let go of listening to Sara Groves, though. I have always come back to listening to Sara Groves. I think it's because she has this way of writing that's conversational. She makes you feel like you're just sitting down over a cup of coffee, getting to know each other. And it was just in so many ways what I needed, sort of like a mentor. I remember sitting down in my dorm room in college. I was in a really confusing season in my life. I was in a really confusing and negative relationship, and I put in a documentary of Sara Groves going to Rwanda on a missions trip. And then at the end of the video, there was a concert, a Sara Groves concert. And I just wept because I thought, that's it. Like, that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. I love that music has that power to connect with a complete stranger, and it can be a lifeline. It can be that one thing you haven't let go of. It can be that one thing that just gives you hope. I want to be a part of that work. These songs were guideposts. These musicians were guideposts for me as I grew up and my identity was shaping and forming. Yes, identities are complicated, layered things. And I have so much more music to listen to and so much more identity to shape and to explore. I'm only 31, and Lord willing, there's a lot more years where I can be discovering new music and you can be discovering new music along with me. And I hope I've learned how to stretch the boundaries that need stretching and strengthen the boundaries that need strengthening. That's it. I guess this video is more of a songster thoughts than anything else, but I hope that you enjoyed my thoughts on music and identity, and that you feel free to share a bit of your story and how has music shaped your identity as you've grown. Click subscribe and write the song you need to hear this week.